Good evening and welcome to Denver 7 Sports, brought to you by Ramos Law. Before the season began, the hopes and the hype in Broncos country were so high. And I guess that's why this hurts so bad. When you set the bar up here and you come in down here at the bottom of the league, it's shocking. All that's missing is an elite quarterback, we heard. We got Russell Wilson. We need a young, up-and-coming, offensive-minded coach in here. We got Nathaniel Hackett. So there was let's ride and let Russ cook. Well, that's turned into let's hide, let's cry, and let Russ sit. Russ was on the bench with a hamstring injury, so he had to watch another quarterback struggle as much as he has. This latest loss to the Jets was as bad as the one in Seattle and Vegas and the Colts and the Chargers. Growing pains have turned into chronic pain. So far, there is no cure. Here's Nick Rothschild with the game story from Empower Field at Mile High.
Broken record, Groundhog Day, pick your cliche. Watching this Broncos team right now is like getting stuck in a conversation with that coworker at the holiday party for your company. It's just boring and redundant. I jumped in the Broncos locker room trying to figure out a way off this carousel.
Yeah, I'm sick of being up here saying the same thing over and over again. The opportunities are there, and at some point we got to take them. There's no excuses. You know, we've been in every single game, and we got to win these games.
No excuses from a head coach whose offensive attitude is starting to wear thin.
I'm just sick of being right there. We keep saying, we're right there. It's going to turn around. It's going to turn around. But to be honest, that we got to turn it around. I feel like people are just waiting for it to turn around, and it's not something that we can wait for. It's something that we got to make happen.
Frustration, bubbling like a witch's brew. So many questions, so few answers.
Probably just as frustrating as you guys having to come and ask the same questions. Obviously, we don't want to go out there and have the poor performance that leads to us having a loss, and then you guys having to come in and ask us why we'd only scored 9 points.
We were promised excitement, innovative offense, and health for the long haul. Now we're living in the Broncos version of the upside down. Where do we go from here?
I really don't even know what to think at this point. It sounds like a broken record at times, but that's part of being a professional. You just gotta go to work and do your job every day.
Yeah, losing in general is tough all around. Obviously, you don't want to lose. Obviously, you want to be on the winning side of the ball, but adversity. We're gonna see how we deal with adversity from here on out. So,
the blessing and curse of the NFL is it's a week-to-week league. Win or lose, every Sunday, your fortunes can change.
You have to move on. It doesn't matter, whatever you're feeling, whatever you're thinking about, it doesn't matter. After that 24-hour rule, you got to move on because you got another team that's moved on.
Mental prep, physical prep, whatever it may be, just doing more. Obviously, what we're doing isn't, getting the job done.
There's only one thing that can stop this cycle. Stop the madness. And unfortunately, it comes from the lips of a Raider.
Just win, baby.
A win will bring the spark back. So we just got to dig deep, man. We got to dig deep on certain situations. We got to dig deep, including me. I done work my butt off just to get back here, just to get back playing. So, I got to go out there and give 110%. Everybody got to do that.
Where'd that spark go?
We just got to gain it back, to be honest.
Well, it hasn't worked in America. Maybe going to England will help? I asked Jonas Griffith that question, and he said, hey, man, we need something. Maybe it'll work. Reporting at Empower Field, Nick Rothschild, Denver 7 Sports.
All right, thanks, Nick. Now let's bring in our Broncos insider, Troy Rank. And Troy, Russell Wilson sat this one out. I can imagine him on the sideline saying, see, it's not me, it's them. Because Brett Rypien had some of the same problems in Game 7 that Russ has had in the first 6 games. The offense scored 9 points, 0 in the second half. It's the same song every week that is now stuck in all of our heads.
Yeah, I've said this. It's not that they're clumsy. It's more like a baby giraffe on roller skates. You realize, Lionel, they've scored 2 touchdowns in their last 3 games? Here is the statistical anomaly. The Broncos are the first team in NFL history to allow 17 points or fewer through 7 games. and not have a winning record. They're 2-5 because their offense stinks. And it's just a variety of issues, from offensive line leaking to the inability to have a consistent passing game. The run game has not been established. They just don't have an identity. And I guess that would be my biggest complaint. Who are they offensively, Lionel, regardless of the quarterback?
Yeah, and we ask, okay, that's all true, but why is it true? What happened? They changed quarterbacks, right? We thought maybe, okay, Rypien will provide a jolt. Let's rip. At home against the Jets, nothing. So Nathaniel Hackett said himself, he sounds like a broken record every week. And Justin Simmons said it, the definition of insanity. Same thing. Do you think something will change this week, Troy, heading to London, or the next week when the Broncos have a bye?
That's more likely because of the way this trip is set up. It's unlikely there's major changes. But when you enter the bye week, that's when you do self-scouting and have major changes. I talked to Hackett after the game and asked him if he would consider surrendering play calling. If I were him, I would. I'd put Clint Kubiak on the play calling, let Hackett have a wider view of this lens, see if he could impact change as a head coach. But there's not a lot you can do at 2-5 now. And this coaching staff, could there be someone fired coming out of London? I don't think it would be Hackett, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's a few changes on the coaching staff during the bye week and a couple players traded.
Well, yeah, and Broncos country has seen enough, right? I mean, this team has been booed in every home game. Fans have left by the thousands before the game ends. Fans have turned against Russell Wilson on social media. They make fun of him. They mock him. There's hashtag fire the hack. The new owners can't be happy. George Payton can't be happy. Nobody's happy, but no one can figure out what's the answer, Troy. But again, you and I agree, firing Hackett now or even this season may not be the answer.
Well, here's the problem you run into when people say fire the Hackett after 8 games. Who's going to take over? Dom Capers? I mean, Clint Kubiak? They're not set up with this staff. It's so young. You could say, okay, Coach Averill, he's never been a coordinator until this year. You're going to make him the head coach, and then you take the strength of the team and lessen it. So I would just basically let him wear it. If this season continues to spiral, Hackett would be my head coach until you get to like game 14 or 15. Then you could make a move because you're going to want to interview next coaches. The other reason you don't see changes like this in season, because now it shifts the heat squarely to GM George Payton. His 2 big moves, and he's made a lot of really good ones, but his 2 big ones were acquiring Russell Wilson and hiring Nathaniel Hackett. And right now, those look like complete strikeouts.
Ooh, it's unbelievable we're saying that 7 games into the season. But yeah, 2-5 playoffs. Playoffs are not even a thought right now. What we all thought, what we all anticipated, what we kind of were all told was going to happen this season, the opposite has happened, Troy. It's like a parallel universe. It's like Hackett's evil twin was hired and not him, not the real Hackett. Who is this? Is there any chance, any hope for Broncos fans that this suddenly can be fixed, like the light switch suddenly goes on? Oh, growing pains, that was it. We finally figured it out. Or could this set back the Broncos for a couple of years?
Well, the only way it gets better is if Russell Wilson comes back healthy. And at this point, I would just basically have him rest until after the bye week, because nothing's going to change if you win against Jacksonville and you're 3-5. So I'd get his shoulder healthy and his left hamstring healthy. But if he's able to finish the season, let's say go 3-2 the last 5 games, and he looks like the old Russell Wilson, that would be where you attach hope going into the offseason. I mean, Hackett still may not survive that, but for me, if Russell Wilson doesn't start to look like the guy he was the first 10 years of his career, you are stuck, because you cannot get out of that contract after 1 year. You could move on from the entire offensive coaching staff. You're not getting rid of Russell Wilson after 1 year because of the salary cap ramifications.
It's all about the money, and he's making so much of it. Coach Hackett did say today Russell is trending towards playing next Sunday in London, so we'll see. The Broncos leave for London tomorrow morning. So we'll take a look ahead to that game, which is right here on Denver 7. Broncos and Jags, both teams coming in cold at 2-5. But in more positive news, it was great to see the Super Bowl 32 champions back at Mile High today. That's next on Denver 7 Sports, brought to you by Ramos Law.